There we go. So each of our brides are going to be describing themselves, and we will start with our lovely first player in the bottom left hand corner of my screen. Would you like to introduce yourself and who you're playing and what your bride looks like?
Sure. My name is Whitney, she, her, and I am portraying uh, the vampire bride known as Selene, also she, her. Selene is a young woman. I want to say she's probably 21, maybe 22 years old. She is medium height and medium weight too. I would say not she's not fat, she's not thin. She's got curves. You can see it is womanly curves. But still healthy for the time period. Her skin is pale, as probably all the vampire brides are, but there's still a little hint of some form of pink to a little bit in the undertones of her pale skin. She is the youngest bride. She was just changed 3 years ago. So she is very young. So she still has some vestiges of possible humanity. Hair is long, wavy black hair. She usually wears it loose, but she'll also wear it back in a loose knot in the back of, right, in a psyche knot. She has deep green eyes. Um, her clothing style is simple but elegant. She prefers to be comfortable, but she recognizes the need to still wear fine fabrics and also hand embroidered.
Hello, name is Durmidge. First name Shane. That's just the handle. He, him. You can find me on Blue Sky. Thing of the same. The links will be up. And I am playing Carmilla. She, her. Uh, the second oldest and shortest of the brides. Uh, she is very voluptuous, sort of on the paler side. Long black hair as well, sort of in the region. Uh, she is she's been turned early, but she is feeling and potentially looking a little old. She has been at this for a couple centuries, and the weights of being in this game of gaining the favor of the worst men imaginable is tiring and has started to take a toll emotionally. But she is here and she is trying to do her best for herself and her sisters.
Hi, I'm Nova. I go by they and she. I am portraying Isabella. Isabella is a tall, uh, broad, imposing woman, but her face and the around her ribs is relatively gaunt. She is wearing still the remnants, the just like bared, tattered, centuries old at this point remnants of uh, an already ill-fitting wedding dress. It looks like it may not have actually been made for her own form. Uh, she has kind of dirty blonde hair, and it's back, but it's not held back. It's not tied back generally. It's streaked with just blood and gunk as she has scraped it out of her face as she went. And each time that she's seen, even though vampires heal the way that they do, she has fresh wounds um, across her face, and frequently does not clean the blood from herself after she eats. So is constantly kind of grungy and bloody in that way. And you can find me on Blue Sky at Dits Akimbo, and I'm sure the links will be posted.
I guess we're gonna do it this way. Hi, I'm Starshard.Stories. I am your storyteller. I am playing the grossest man alive, and I feel gross about it. Um, feel very icky about it. You can find me on various social media platforms, especially here on the Starfield, where this show is hosted. I own it. Hello. You can find me on Blue Sky. You can find me on TikTok. You can find me on YouTube. But we hold various shows. Most of the things that we specify in mostly is horror themed gaming. Um, though we do have superheroes, and then we're gonna have some wild apocalyptic themes coming up soon. It's gonna be a time. But thank you for tuning in and watching this lovely yet dark show that we are presenting for you all. Welcome to a TTRPG that's not out yet. It is a new one called The Brides of Dracula. So what we are doing, we are playing the quick start guide that they have provided on their website, and basically a lot of this is a playtest related material, so we're probably gonna play it wrong. That's fine. We have discussed our lines and veils and everything because this can get a very dark game very quickly due to what is in store and what some of the themings are. If you're uncomfortable at any time during this whole iteration of our showing of Brides of Dracula, you can step away. That's fine. I have other things that you can watch that are very wholesome and sweet and goofy and silly. But this is a game of brides trying to escape their oppressor. So, on that note, we are going to set up the scene. All of the brides are out at a banquet this evening. All of them. Trebosh children do not believe in fairy tales, and that's a shame. If they did, they would know that monsters exist. Tonight, all of the monsters are here. Your groom, Dracula, has decided to hold a reception, and his whole court has gathered for the occasion. What an absurd pantomime. Lifeless beings claiming to be alive. Of course, if you were still able to breathe, the smell of damp earth and mold would almost be suffocating. And, again, if the candlelight were strong enough, you would not miss the worn edges of the draperies and the moth-eaten cushions on the armchairs. You are part of the party, of course. Trophies, brides. You have learned that the difference is only in the whim of your sire. The audience is bizarre. Everyone in one way or another is connected to the Prince of Darkness. Some of the guests are alone. Others are accompanied by a small entourage of creatures as wretched as you. The rules of the game, of this unholy travesty, want the fangs to remain locked in forced smiles, and the claws softened into warm handshakes, but you know the truth that lurks in the emptiness of their souls. As you are all standing there, there are a couple of people that you can notice right off the bat. One is a lesser nobleman known as von Aschenberg. He has a cane, a bit of a limp to him, older. And he just seems to be all smiles, but that smile isn't genuine. The other is a woman known as Linda. Very tiny, petite woman, is in a shapeless gown carrying a candelabra. She is a servant that you've all seen at some point, but she rarely leaves the lower levels of the castle. Though she seems to be very busy right now, replacing things on the tables, fixing the drapes, trying not to catch the ire of anybody in the room. Though von Aschenberg looks to y'all and just gives a small smile and continues his way throughout the room. Now, my dear brides, it is up to you on what you do.
Right. I think I'll go first. Sort of imagine Carmilla is very close to von Aschenberg, as close as someone can be in this sort of artifice and sort of dominated environment.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm going to go up and make sort of like the Bonnie kind of a little flirty, like small talk kind of artifice. Not real full flirty, but just sort of that height level, but keeping a lot of glancing over the shoulder. My groom, uh, keeping an eye out because Camilla likes to test the waters and just sort of like push a little bit and try to like play to get attention, but she knows it's a dangerous game, so she's got.
You do not see your groom right now. He has not arrived yet. Of course, he has to be fashionably late to his own party, you know. So you approach von Aschenberg, and he just gives a little bit of a smile. Carmilla, it's a wonderful party tonight, is it not?
Always, especially tonight.
Mm.
Good.
Though it is quite a miracle that your lord allowed you to grace my evening.
He's very generous. Very.
Generous. That's not quite the word I would give.
Gonna sort of smile and give a little look, sort of knowingly, and
I
have
think
that little
at this
moment
point,
between us.
I think at this point, Isabella's kind of just going to sweep brusquely into this conversation and uh, oh, he's plenty generous, just not to you, Ashy. Carmilla over here, she gets anything she wants. How are my two
Gonna
favorite little toadies?
just gonna give sort of a catty, but sort of gloaty look at the same time. Just like you can hate me for being more favored than you, but it is nice to have it acknowledged.
Ladies, now is not time to have a little cat fight. Though where is Selene?
I am just so Selene is in the back. She is observing everything because that's what she does. She is the quiet one, probably the youngest of the brides.
Mm-hmm.
And also, she knows for a fact that no matter what she does, it doesn't make a hill of difference in how he views her. So, she also finds her own way to test the waters. And she does it through random acts of, depending on her temperament of the day, random acts of kindness, or random acts of madness, or random acts of cattiness. Right now, she is leaning more towards, she knows that she's not going to break up anything between Carmilla, Isabella, or Ashi, because right now, she just doesn't feel like it. She knows. She knows that Isabella knows what she's doing. And she'll be there to pick up the pieces for Isabella.
Mm.
She knows that Carmilla knows what she's doing. And she also knows that Our Lord is going to brush everything under the rug for her. No, she's observing more von Aschenberg's reaction to everything. And with her other eye, she's looking at Linda.
Linda is still busy doing her job. Like, she's not trying to cause any trouble. It's one of those of there's always an ounce of fear in this house. Always.
So I'm going to sidle up very quietly, making sure that my glamour is toned down.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to slip. I have actually done this for Linda before. I've slipped her little sachets of calming herbs and herbs for clear vision. She is my eyes
Mm.
in the most subtle way possible. Besides, a little patronage of the servants is not always a bad thing,
Mm-mm.
because our Lord assumes I'm keeping them in order. Also, I just happen to like the humans. I
So,
slip,
what do you
yes.
what do you slip?
I'd like to slip her a little sachet. It's probably going to be about this small,
Mm-hmm.
very small. And it has herbs of lavender and rosemary for remembrance, you know. If she is going to be doing her job, I want her to remember everything that she hears. And just
She
sort of,
takes it. She knows that she has it, and she watches you for a moment.
I just nod to her and then I go on my way.
She looks up as the contact suddenly breaks the eye contact. As a kick from a muscular hair covered paw knocks her to the ground because she did not move quick enough.
I whirl around. Who did that?
It is one of the largest members of the court. They're wrapped in a heavy gray cloak. And he's pulling the couch to himself so he could have a seat, and you no longer can see Linda because of how hulking he is. It blocks your view.
What is this brute's name?
This will be the first time you've ever seen him, so you do not know.
Oh, okay. So if I'm seeing this quickly, he basically just bats her away because he was grabbing the couch and he just bats her out of the way.
Yeah.
Right. I'm going to sort of maneuver. Where can I see her now?
You could see her. She's getting up and she's profusely apologizing. Though, as she is talking, you can tell there's. The thing that everybody knows is due to the amount she has been punished over the years, one may think she's a little bit mad.
I
So
nod at her and just put my finger to my lips. Go.
she'll nod and scurry out of the room.
Good
Back
evening,
to the
sir.
caddies.
Ooh, yes.
Von Aschenberg has the look of amusement at you two just bickering. I would say bickering. That is the easiest way to put this very tense situation between the two brides that I view butt heads the most. Now. Your groom wants to guard you both, and I am very jealous of the desire that he has to protect both of you. Now, he looks out of the corner of his eye for a moment. He gives a little bit of a deep bow. The smile crumbles a little, and his breathing is a tiny bit labored. Look for me in the crowd when the night is no longer so young. Even in the darkest forest, the roads are many, and where the light does not reach, even the wolf is likely to get lost. And he kind of makes his way out, and Of course, he vanishes in the dancing crowd and everything. Though, before you two can start bickering once again, at the center of the ghastly elegance of this reception is now him, your groom. At this, behold, he comes in the middle of the night. As a swarm of flies rises from a carcass at the approach of the wolf, the guests open up, making room for the hall. For this man's majestic presence, handsome, beautiful beyond words, perfection. His smiles, his gestures measured and dangerous. In stiff heads and twisted necks of the guests, your own cursed obsession. If only he would look at you. Why do you desire him so much? How deeply has he touched you to make you so desperate for his consideration? Dracula is the fire that does not warm. He is an object of desire that takes without giving, sizing up his words and glances. He's a sublime host, crossing the room, giving the impression of being present but denying himself to everyone. Everyone is prey to him. He takes his seat, and he's not paying attention to any of you. His eyes are focused onto one person. The other bride that you all know, Helga. Helga's in a very good mood today. Not being bitchy or catty or anything. She's dancing with a couple of the courtiers of court, just having a time. Entertaining. Linda is peeking in from around the corner, and there's a look of concern and fear. She looks up, sees that Dracula is looking at her. She scurries right back out of the room. His voice booms in the middle of everything, causing everyone to cease what they were doing. Helga. The Night Lord's voice slithers in the room boisterously. Helga, surprised and stiff, brings a hand to her chest as if to protect herself. My lord? He moves a gesture towards her, an invitation, or perhaps the promise of his embrace. Helga turns to all of you with a triumphant smile. She's been chosen. She is finally the favorite. And everyone knows it. Helga breaks away from the circle of creatures and advances to the center of the hall. My sweetest Helga. Dracula takes her hand and pulls her to him. Lips meet and the two twirl together. Perfect, eternal, serene. Helga has never been more beautiful than this and then in his arms. This, all of you know, is dangerous. Dangerous for even creatures like you who are already dead. Here lies the apex of Dracula's power, the depth of the wound he has inflicted on you. So deep that seeing someone like you wrapped in his embrace is heartbreaking. He leaves a caress on her face. By the time the next sun rises, my beloved, I will have completely forgotten you. The air shifts as Helga is thrown into the middle of the hall, where she falls like a wet rag. Friends, welcome guests. The prince's arms open in a very obscene invitation. Let the banquet begin. What follows is a massacre of blood and claws. All semblance of humanity is completely abandoned in partaking in Helga's execution. She was the offering for tonight. For a moment, her gaze rests on you all, but it's only an instant, and then she disappears, fiercely devoured, torn, broken by the murder frenzy of Dracula's court. Above all, the sound of jaws and flayed bones. His eyes are fixed on you. You don't need to say anything. You don't know that he will choose his next favorite among you. But Helga's blood spreads across the polished floor, and somewhere at the bottom of the abyss of your soul has become a voice. With me, it will be different. If he chooses me, I could really love him. Now, you have noticed the Baron did not participate in this. He stayed on the sidelines. And he started to make his way to the terrace. And Linda sneaks in, picking something up off the floor, blood dripping off of it, and she runs off into the hall. Did you brides participate in the murder of Helga?
No.
No, but if I can, I think I want to use the first use of power.
Okay, which one are you using?
Manipulate emotion. I think I want to reach out to Isabel and put my hand on her arm as this is going down, and use it as like a calm emotion. If I can hit both of those.
Okay,
If I
so
can hit.
with this is a conflict. All right.
Okay.
So,
Can I probe to see if she would want this first with my sort of telepathy?
that'll be up to our Isabella. Would you relent, or are you gonna be?
I think that there is an amount of vindictiveness and just general bloodthirst that would have her absolutely joining in this
Murderfest.
horrid display.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I think that she would relent because the opportunity to tear apart a rival is tempting, but also it's what he wants.
Uh-huh.
And given the opportunity to not do what he wants, I think that she would absolutely take the excuse.
So you relent, and you feel yourself, the bloodthirst, slowly go away. And you're a bit calmer, and you notice things a little bit more than you usually do when you go into your rage. Because Isabella is the one that has the most, I mean this lovingly, anger issues of the group.
Yeah.
But you notice, Isabella, across the hall, Dracula's watching you. There is a look of disappointment. And that look you know oh so well of, we're going to have a discussion later.
There's an interesting series of unsaid things that happens here, from the hunger and rage that overtakes her to the calm and sort of relaxation and contentment, almost satisfaction in being able to resist, and then the realization of what must have happened, and this kind of sidelong glance at Carmilla, and then the realization that Dracula is watching, and just an intense rigidity uh, uh, completely overtakes her, and where she was all aggressive fluid movements and snark, she takes on a much more like proper demeanor, and Excuse me, sister. I have something to do. And she's going to take this opportunity to fuck off as quickly as possible if she can.
Um,
Uh,
the other two brides see Dracula get up and follow after Isabella.
Shit.
fuck.
I'm gonna cast. Can I cast an illusion?
Just so you know, you are working against Dracula, so you are gonna get a minus to your pool. Because I know where you're going. It's like, I know. As a reminder, a dark gift gives you an additional 2 to your dice pool. However, as a reminder, you have a full bond to this man.
Mm-hmm.
I will only allow you to roll 1 die because you have to subtract. So you're gonna have to get a 4 or higher on your die, and you will go up by 1 hunger.
All right. So as we walk through technology and the character sheet, all right. So I am going to be marking on my lovely little character sheet here, right here, that I have 1 hunger. So I guess that's a check mark.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I am going. So here's what I think Selene is going to do. Selene is, even though she's the youngest, she's very protective of Isabella.
Okay.
She really is. And Dracula doesn't know the fullness of what Selene can do.
Okay.
At least I'm going off that assumption, but we'll see.
We'll see.
Also, she knows that Carmilla has probably been trying to keep Isabella cool and calm, which is not going to work for long.
What'd you get?
I rolled a 3.
Okay. So describe what the illusion you were trying to do.
It was going to be something simple. It was more like I was going to sort of have like it was going to be like a sound or maybe a whiff of something. So maybe a whiff of Helga's blood catching his nostrils.
That's not what happens.
Mm-hmm.
The gift
Yeah.
pops off, and you're trying to make the room smell more like Helga's blood to possibly get him hungrier or distract him. However,
Oh, I know I'm gonna get my ass kicked. I don't care.
he stops for a second, tilts his head, glances over. He just shakes his head for a moment, and he just continues to
Then in
walk,
that case,
and he motions to 2 of the guards, and they're keeping an eye on you.
I
However,
give a wink to the guards.
You hear in your head, "We will have a discussion later."
And I think back to him, bring it on.
Can you please, for me,
You're gonna die.
I'm the one with the busiest schedule of us all.
Trying to die
Hey,
early.
better to love and lost. No, I'll be okay. I'll be okay.
Amazing.
you feel a very sharp pain in the back of your head, and you see a brief glimpse of your life you had before you met Dracula. Your family, your home, it catching on fire,
Mhm.
him just taking you away, and you went willingly. And he's like, "You chose me over them. Remember that, Selene."
Noted. I am going to go out on the terrace and catch a breath of fresh air.
We will get to you back in a second. And please mark a harm on your sheet.
Okay. You're welcome.
Ow.
You're welcome. Worth it. Worth it.
Carmilla, what are you doing, boo-boo?
It's been very emotionally tumultuous, like 90 seconds. So there was definitely no love lost between me and Helga.
No,
Like,
you
sort
could
of
stand her probably.
yeah, there's that sort of jealousy that a silver medalist can only describe.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so, but didn't want to see her done so dirty. Uh, Part of, I guess, sort of higher player knowledge would know this character when the desire to subjugate Dracula comes from a place of caring
Mm-hmm.
and does care a lot about her sister wives
Yes.
and did have a fair amount of care for Helga, even if it's outwardly catty and believes that she was superior and just scorned. So watching her get torn bodily apart uh, was very jarring, especially knowing mixed with the elation of she got blue shelled. And and now I'm about to, and now I'm in first place, right? So I'm, but also that same sort of emotion is like reaching out to Isabella is the same sort of like protective instincts, but also coming from the place of like I will eventually, because we have theoretically all the time in the world, I will eventually fix this. I will make things better. We've gotta just be smart, be tactical. Uh, that's all going internally. Outwardly, she's just avoiding Dracula's gaze, trying to sort of like hide the fact that she's not participating
Oh,
and sort of treat this like an active party. Not trying to show any sort of displeasure, but just sort of a little bit of cluelessness that she was supposed to tear Helga apart, is rather just being like sort of on the sideline supportive.
Dracula stops for a moment, so Isabella has been spared briefly. Dracula approaches Carmilla, and he holds his hand out for her to take.
A little curtsy.
He will pull her to the dance floor, and everybody moves to give you two room. And he will pull you into a waltz. Is everything all right, Carmilla?
Absolutely, my dear. It's a lovely night, and any moment with you is fully. There is no pushing back going on in the moment. This is not the time.
I have a gift for you if you wish to accept it.
Absolutely, my love. Be on.
Though, in exchange, I want you to keep tabs on Selene.
Of course, my love. You know best.
She's been a bit rebellious lately. Not a proper lady. I'll have the gift delivered to your room. Though, he'll pull you in close, and his breath is hot next to your ear. Don't ever calm Isabella again. Is that understood?
Of course, my love.
His grip is a bit tight, and then it loosens. And y'all continue your waltz as nothing happened. It's a bit of a cheerful moment, a joyous moment. He's paying attention to you. But you do know his attitude can switch real quick. Meanwhile, Isabella is running through the halls. I'm guessing to your chambers?
I think that in the moment, her only instinct would have been to escape. She doesn't have shouldn't do fear a lot of the time. Dracula is the thing that she's afraid of. But I
Valid.
think that once uh once she's out of his eyesight, once she is out of his immediate influence, I think that will turn to spite. And I think that she knows that the storm is coming one way or another.
Mm-hmm.
And so instead she's gonna lash out. I think she's going to, with her super speed here. Uh, if there is anyone she knows to be the most like lockstep supporter of Dracula, not necessarily like the person who toadies up to him most, but like whoever is most supportive and useful to his power here, she wants to find them and destroy them.
Well, that'll be poor Igor.
Oh no. Oh no.
Igor is one of the longest servants that Dracula has had. He is mindlessly loyal to him. No matter the abuse that he goes through by this man is, and I hate to word it like this, he is more loyal than a golden retriever. But the way you can find him is probably a garden that you never step into, which is the Winter's Garden, which is in the center of the castle, where you know how like castles have like a garden in the center of it and is a walkway. Igor is tending to flowers that are beautiful, serene, pure white, glowing under the moonlight like immortality. He's there basically when I'm trying to pull up the gardens real quick. Whee. He's just there, tending to the flowers, making sure they're watered. It's quiet. He's not causing any scene. It's just quiet. But as you're walking through the halls, you feel eyes on you. No matter where you go. Something or someone is always watching. But you see little Igor hunched over, tending to some flowers in the middle of the night. He looks over. Oh. Hello.
Trying to think how she's going to come into this scene. I think she's just gonna storm in.
Oh.
Speed and strength in full force here. I mean, she's going to essentially just pounce Igor. Um, uh, just
Igor starts screaming.
As a blur from the edge of this garden to the center, is faster than the eye can see. on top of him with a hand just sort of like on his head, um, crushing it down so it is indenting the earth below him.
This man is just screaming.
Mm.
Um,
Oh no.
and this just huge wicked grin is going to come across her face, and she's going to lean down close to his ear and say, "I know you don't deserve this, Igor, but needs must." And she's going to, by the head and by the shoulders, just pull him apart in the bloodiest way possible. Her goal here is both to make sure that he is very, very dead and to cover as much of these beautiful white roses in his gore as possible. She's sending a message.
I'm gonna let you roll for that. Are there any traits that you want to use for that?
I would say the unrelenting fury of vengeance is appropriate here.
Correct.
And her conviction that every drop of spilled blood brings her closer to freedom.
Okay. I will allow both of those.
I'd say the appearance here, I'm not really sure when appearance applies. In most cases, I feel like it's probably only in social situations.
Okay.
But I'm not sure because it's my eyes burn with an unquenchable fire. My smile is as sharp as a blade.
I will allow it for this one.
Cool. Sending a message here. And I'm going to be using the gifts. 100%.
So, as a reminder, you have to subtract because you are actually working against Dracula.
Oh, am I?
Yeah.
I'm gonna guess this is okay. So I'm still only one die. I have no chance of actually succeeding at this.
There is a chance. Just, I will also say because of this, you can mark one thing off of your bond.
Okay. So where am I? I think this puts me at I think that still puts me at one die.
Yeah. Maybe
Okay.
I think
because that's the struggle there. Is I don't actually have a chance of success on one die.
Yeah, roll. Just roll. Just let me know if you get one success. Yeah.
That's a 4.
Okay. So as a reminder, with this, however, the consequences are mitigated. However, you don't get what you want. Yes, you kill this man. I'm gonna say this. You kill this man, but it's not as sadistically satisfying.
I don't send the message I want.
You don't. It doesn't get across the flowers or anything. You just hear the dying breath of Igor. He just looks up at you, his eyes just big, feeling very betrayed.
Ouch.
Bye.
And he's struggling to say something as he is gurgling his last breath. And then he just goes limp. And you just leave the body there. You just leave it. The blood spilling out on the cobble.
She's going to slink away. She was hoping for catharsis or something. Satisfaction, and it's just hollow. An empty victory. Victory.
You hear in the back of your head a very disappointed sigh. You had to kill poor Igor. He was my toy. And you broke him. Isabella. I don't know whether to be mad or proud of you right now for showing how visceral you can be. Remember, I have eyes everywhere. So, if you could continue to throw a little tantrum, Well, we know how much fun we're gonna have later. And then the voice fades out of your mind. Selene, you are out on the terrace.
Yeah, she is she's definitely a little shaken. Um,
Mm-hmm.
she's breathing fast. Well, fake breathing. Trying to trying to recapture her composure, and she's telling herself, "No, no, no, that's not how you do it. It's not how you do it. It's not how you do it."
As you are out on the terrace, it overlooks the village of Targovist. It's in the shadow of the castle, and yet there's lights in the village, calm, serene, and that it reminds you that not everyone is a lamb to the slaughter in this domain.
Yes.
There's people, you could see people walking the streets in the middle of the night, as there is no worry. And in the distance, you see a manor, not glamour, a manor out in the distance that used to be owned by a former favorite of Dracula.
Do I know about this former favorite?
You do not. It is rumored, the only story you know. The rumor is she was a bride that was Dracula's favorite. She still lives there. She's not dead.
Mm.
But due to the time era that this is, something very tragic happened, and she spends most of her days just looking in the reflection of an empty mirror and crying. She said it is rumored she has powers equal, if not greater, than Dracula. And it is also rumored she is the sire of Dracula.
I let the sight of this manor, and I'm seeing like stark stone glowing in the moonlight, and feeling the calm rush upon me. I know part of what will save me is magic. And I will get it. That's how I was what I was. I want to use, I need power, but the power has to come from within me. And maybe my sister wives and this other sister wife, because she probably is a sister, if not my mother, after all, considering my state, she could help us. She could probably help. But right now, but that is a concern for later, as soon as I can convince. First, I have to find a way to sort of perform basically an act of contrition. I will do that for the sake of my sister wives, for the sake of myself, so I can get that freedom again to go outside. I'm basically being a stroppy teenager right now. So I need to calm down on the attitude. The death of Helga, I can tell Dracula that the death of Helga hurt me more, that perhaps my heart is too tender, and I'm so sorry, and I will grovel if I need to, just to get this edge back. But I'm going to also cast my gaze over. Now, von Aschenbeck is out here, correct?
Yeah, he's in the middle of lighting a pipe and
I'm gonna,
smoking out of it.
I'm gonna actually approach him and I say, Lord von Aschenberg, forgive me. I did not get a chance to greet you. I'm not very good at such things. Please forgive me.
He just has a little bit of a smile and looks over his shoulder for a moment to ensure you two are not being watched.
We're not, physically at least.
You never know.
I hold out my hand as a gracious handshake.
He will take your hand and lift it up to his lips and brush his lips across the knuckles.
And I will let him do it as appropriate for etiquette, and then withdraw my hand. So, another bloodbath.
Wonder how Helga pissed him off.
She probably did nothing.
Probably.
And I'm just kind of gazing at in the distance. You know how he is.
I do. I saw you were looking over at Griselda's manor.
That's her name.
Yes. Dracula actually didn't kill her. He disowned her.
Was she not his maker?
Some rumors say that it is. I'm not entirely sure.
I was going to
She's
say,
been
I
around since before I was.
Is it possible to get an audience with her?
It's possible you'll have to go through the Ash Forest to get there. Which werewolves, hunters stalk the place.
Fun stuff.
Though, one thing to note about her house. If you ever step foot, the house will react to whatever your intentions are or your emotions.
Oh. So come at it with pure intentions.
And it won't try to kill you, yes.
Again. This has been such an awful night. I didn't know Helga very well, but we don't deserve this.
Well, I mustn't stay out too long. Alone.
Yes.
And you are unsupervised.
Yes, well, not for long. I look over my shoulder to see where my little nanny squad is.
The guards are watching, and Dracula is still in that waltz with Carmilla.
They're both in. My babysitters are out here. So I will take my leave.
Have a good night, Selene.
You as well. Good night.
Carmilla, the dance ends, and he'll lean in and give a kiss on the cheek.
I'll come in just to see that part.
And he whispers, now I have to find Isabella. As she is causing a mess.
Trying to keep sort of like a sympathetic, acquiescing smile, but internally is just screaming over the last couple of minutes, and now sort of hearing that sort of has intentions on Isabella, especially what just happened to Helga, is a lot of for someone whose powers around emotional manipulation. Very hard keeping it together right now, but she's best.
So you watch as Dracula steps back, and you watch as he fades into a bit of a fog and swoops out of the ballroom, towards the direction where Isabella ran. You see Selene come in from the terrace, followed by von Aschenberg. Wait a minute. Did she go out there unsupervised?
Oh no, not at all. I approached Carmilla and I say, before you ask, no, I wasn't unsupervised. I jerked my thumb back to the nanny squad. They were watching. He did nothing more than just what was appropriate and gave me a proper kiss of greeting on my hand.
Sort
I
of give
had
the polite smile.
I
Knowing
yeah. I turned to the guards and was like,
They just stare at you. They don't do anything.
may we promenade, Carmilla?
course. And then just sort of offer the arm.
I take her arm and we will promenade like the ladies of Bridgerton and have a little conversation sotto voce.
Love that. Isabella, you feel the chill go up your spine as you are still going through the castle. Probably try to find someone else to make a statement out of.
Mm-hmm.
And the room starts filling with fog. And then standing before you is your husband. His arms folded across his chest, staring down at you. Where are you running, Isabella?
Um, she's going to. I think as she's been going, unable to find another target, she's kind of just been breaking stuff, just stuff as she goes, and she's going to look up at him. He's just ridiculously tall.
He
He has
is.
to be. Um, she's going to look up at him, and there will be this moment of retaining that sort of defiant fire that she's had, that wrath. Um, and as she looks him in the face, as she tries to bring that directly against him, it's going to just crumble. And her knees are going to go weak. She's going to just hit the ground, not entirely flat, but just drop down to her knees, and whatever scrap of thing that she had been wrecking is going to fall out of her hands, and her head will come down. And not running, my prince. Not anymore.
Mm. He will scoop you up and throw you over his shoulder. Y'all are heading into a different room. The doors close.
Oh.
There is yelling, there is screaming, there is things crashing. Isabella will not be seen for the rest of the night.
Enjoy your evening.
The party starts to wind down as, the host of the party is no longer to be seen. Though you hear whispers from a couple of the servants that there's yelling coming from one of the rooms. And crashing, which one of them says, I think Isabella and him got into it again.
I exchange a glance with Carmilla. We should go to her
Hear that?
again. Yes.
Each player didn't.
Oh.
Can you speak up a little?
Oh, sorry. We should go to her when we can.
In the morning. Like,
I know. It just bothers me so. It just bothers me so much. What did Helga do? Nothing,
gonna
right?
sort of figure to look around to see how close we're being.
You're not being surveilled, oddly enough.
Okay. I'm just gonna look at her and say, "Does she have to do anything?"
I'm going to have to go to him and make peace.
Probably best, yeah.
I just didn't want we were so caught up in I know what I could say. We were so caught up in the moment, and I was I was upset about Helga. I had never seen such a banquet like this before. He knows I'm inexperienced. I can play off that, right?
Fawn, beg, do everything.
So I can do what I need to do. Okay. He wanted you to watch me, didn't he?
Sorry, 1 second. I had to think of. He wants a lot more of me now. Helga. No longer.
Does it make you happy? Get back to me on that. Should I go to him directly?
In the morning, but yes.
All right. I'll go to him first before I see to Isabella. Good night.
Good night.
All right.
Love
We'll
you.
part. We give each other our little mwah mwah of respect and genuine affection. I do like Carmilla a great deal. I envy her grace. I envy the way she manages things.
Mm-hmm.
So I do look up to her in that regard. I admire Isabella too because she does the things that I know I can't do. I have no idea how they feel about me, but I hope they know that I'm trying to do my best. So I go retire, and then I'm going to talk to him.
All right. So, as you were heading towards your chambers, you feel a small caress under your chin. And Dracula's walking ahead of you.
My lord, good evening.
Selene,
I cast my eyes down a little bit.
what do you have to say about that little party trick?
Well, first, that it was rankly amateur.
Mm-hmm.
And second, I am so sorry, my lord. My emotions got away with me. It distressed me so much. I guess I'm still very human in many ways. I'm so sorry, my lord. I I do want to please you, but I feel so awkward.
Since
I
you're
look
still naive about how things work here, you're not going to be punished as harshly.
Yes, my lord.
You need to keep an eye on your other two sisters for the time being.
I will look to them for an example.
Hmm.
And I rely on your wisdom, my lord.
He will put something in your hand and close it. And then he just walks off.
I go in my room and I look at it. What is it?
It's a locket.
I open the locket.
There's a strand of your hair tied inside of the locket.
Is it engraved? Are there any words on it?
It just says to my beloved. It's made out of pure silver.
A feeling of warmth. There's something that gives me warmth, that gives me joy. And it's there, and then it just kind of goes away like a breath of fresh autumn wind with a scent of almost like maple sugar in the wind.
Mm-hmm. As Carmilla gets to her chambers, on your vanity, there is a silver tray with various bottles of perfume on it. And as you all know, perfume is extremely expensive.
Mm-hmm.
They're full bottles with the atomizers and everything. Beautiful glass bottles. Dark, so the fragrance doesn't get spoiled if it's hit by sunlight. There's 3 of them. Each a different color, dark bottle. One a deep red. One a very deep blue. And one a very deep green. And then in the corner of the room, you see a 4th bottle that's broken and shattered, which is a very deep purple. And the smell of honeysuckle, roses, and a tiny hint of gardenia fills the air as you see the liquid spilling onto the floor. It's a present, but it's also a warning. Now, as this scene fades, you guys get to decide what y'all would like to do next, how much time has moved forward, and where you would like to start.
I think that either like the next night for immediate like reconvening in the fallout of this,
Mm-hmm.
or kind of a significant amount of time is my thought here. Either we pick it up immediately because a lot of stuff was there, or to your theme here, just kind of uh let that strand go. you know uh uh uh
We can do a few days.
Yeah. Yeah. Aside from the fact that of course, Selene is going to look in on Isabella to make sure she's all right and everything.
She's breathing.
Yeah.
she's not all right.
I'm not sick, but I'm not well either.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I
But yeah, I'm okay with a few days.
Okay. I think I know where I'm going to set this up. So a few days later, all of you are outside of a door in Dracula's castle. Hello. And the door is open. It's never been open. Except for when you've seen Helga go in and out of this room. The chamber of the favorite. If Helga had any breath left, it would have choked at the sight of the chambers behind ornate doors, a vast and seemingly endless complex of corridors and rooms, oil paintings of Helga on the walls. When were they painted and by whom? In the bedroom, a desk, a favorite book of poems, old but in perfect condition, and those flowers in the vase, the same ones she used to pick as a child, in the fields outside of her parents' house. So, as there are different things in this chambers, there is a foyer, which has very ornate furniture, very pristine, nothing moth-bitten, no smell of mold or anything. It's perfect. There's also the bedroom, which you can see to the left side. And then outside of the bedroom, you can see the terrace that looks over the winter garden. There is also a vanity with a big, ornate, hand-carved mirror. And by hand-carved is the frame of the mirror is hand-carved ornately with roses and flowers, and everything on the desks is a bunch of love letters, notes. It's perfect. Like, it's a little love nest. But there's even trinkets from Helga's childhood in here. There's things from her family, like things that aren't from this village or in this room. And there's even a weird looking urn sitting on the nightstand next to the bed.
Oh, man.
But every so often, as you are all outside, you see glimpses of what seems to be other women walking these halls in this chamber.
Reminds me of a story. Story of the nobleman who married all those wives, and the last wife finds her predecessors hanging by their heads, gore dripping everywhere, almost like in a secret chamber that he forbade her from entering. Are the ghosts? These are. Are these
Spectrals.
spirits intelligent?
You can try. You could try talking to one.
So I see one that's sort of coming in our direction, and I say, "Hello."
It looks at you for a moment and then slowly points a long, elongated finger towards the mirror.
The hand carved mirror.
Yes.
I'm going to go. I was like, "Should we go in?" Let's go.
We haven't
I
been
tiptoe.
forbade to go in.
I go. Hey, it's an open door. I go across the threshold and I pick up the mirror.
As you touch the mirror, there is a hum of magic on this mirror.
Ooh.
And you see the reflection of the ghost in the mirror. A woman with very long, dark hair, slightly sunken in features, dark green eyes, beautiful. Like every one of Dracula's brides has a sense of beauty about him. Freckles dotting the nose, and a hint of like mischief and intelligence in those eyes.
What's your name?
Hold on one second. Child's being acting up. Tilly.
Tilly?
Tilly.
What can I do for you?
Why are you in here? Selene. I see you, Carmilla and Isabella.
This is Tilly.
Turkey.
Are you all right, Isabella?
Just gonna hold herself up, sort of stiff. I'm fine, thank you.
It was a bit rowdy the other night.
Just me being me.
Mm. I was just being me too, and now look at me.
How long has it been for you?
600 years?
Oh,
Give or take.
oh.
A couple, 50 years. Time doesn't run normally. Though time is a concept that we made up.
Yes. Yes, I suppose it is.
Though, I already know who's the next favorite's gonna be.
I look over at Carmilla.
No.
Interesting.
Isabella's eyes snap locked onto the mirror, not looking at Carmilla, but this ghost.
I
How?
won't tell you. He talks to the ghosts. We hear everything.
What else have you been hearing?
Oh, how he's pitting each and every one of you against each other. That's what he used to do to me too. With Griselda.
Griselda.
Mm-hmm. The
Was
first
she-
wife.
Ah.
The very first one. Though when he disowned her, he did burn half of the manor. That was funny. And then I was the favorite for a bit.
May I ask what happened to you? Only if you're comfortable with sharing.
Oh, I had some relations with a, wasn't... No, I had relations with werewolf.
That was fun.
Oh, it was fun. It was one of the last fun things I ever did. I didn't even make it back into the castle before my neck was snapped.
What happened to the werewolf?
I don't know. I don't know what happened to him.
I'm sorry.
Shame. He was a very beautiful man.
I'm sure he was. What can we do for you?
Live. Don't piss him off.
Bit late for that, I'm afraid.
She just vanishes from the mirror after she said what she wanted to say, which was stir the pot a little bit.
Selene puts the mirror down and said, Somebody told me once that it's hard to trust ghosts, but I've heard the name that she mentioned before. Griselda, I've heard that. Must have been in
I've
my
heard
reading.
only rumors of this wife. Something to do with the castle out there.
There is a manor. I could see it from the terrace.
I am more interested, I think, in these wolves.
I am too, actually. The wolves sound bad.
And if Tilly didn't know what happened to the wolf, maybe nothing happened. Maybe he fears them.
Oh, interested like that. I would have blushed if that had any blood.
Oh, Carmilla. What? You didn't realize? Carmilla, even I knew that.
Well, she said interested. I thought Never
You
mind.
hear faint giggling on the wind.
I squeeze Carmilla's hand. So, well, also it's clear that she also was trying to be like, oh, who's the favorite gonna be? Blah, blah, blah.
Ghosts don't know
Uh,
anything. If they did, they wouldn't have ended up dead. But you can clearly see the panic and the cycling. Carmilla is again not having a very good time internally.
Oh.
As y'all are talking, a letter falls off of the writing desk.
I pick it up.
It's not Dracula's handwriting on the letter, and it's not Helga's.
I hand it to Carmilla. Want to be a little nosy? Here you go.
Gonna take it and just slide a nail under it. Very.
You flip it over to look at the envelope. There is a family seal on it. Oh, you know the seal. It's von Aschenberg.
Oh.
Oh.
Do you open
In
the
that
letter?
case,
I think while Carmilla's being indecisive here, Isabella is completely out of patience and just super speed here yoinks the letter and shreds the envelope off of it.
as I was
Let me
thinking
see
about
it.
how to like loosen the wax seal, hold it up to a candle, get it a little loose, and then possibly put a pin, it just snatched right out of my hands.
Oh, hey, question for you, storyteller, narrator. With creatures of the night, does that also include insects?
Yes.
Wonderful. I take it we do have, I don't know, flies and little mice and things like that in the castle.
And moths, yes.
I'm going to actually use a moth to sort of be our eyes, so that way I can
Okay.
be aware if certain unpleasant things are coming our way.
Okay, so since you are not acting against Dracula or anything with this, you are actually doing your job. And you are using the start gift. You go up by 1 hunger.
Okay. I'm
Um,
gonna need to eat soon.
yes. And the moth flies off to go surveil. And this is not a conflict, so this automatically goes off.
Beautiful.
So you rip open the letter.
Yeah, what does this letter say?
There is discussions about a court meeting going to happen at the Aschenberg Palace. Discussions on what to do with Dracula. But everyone knows tragedy did hit the Aschenberg Palace, and not many people go up that way anymore. It used to be a bright beacon in this land, and it's now surrounded by Dracula's darkness. Also, it's discussions about an information network of lesser nobles and smaller palaces that they are discussing on what to do with Dracula, and Dracula knows nothing about it. Because everyone's getting fed up.
Mm.
And at the very bottom, it says, "From your dearest love, von Aschenberg."
I think we know what she did.
Oh no. Whoops.
How hairy.
Isabella's going to
What was Carmilla saying?
How hairy is von Aschenberg?
How hairy?
Is he is he the werewolf?
He is not the werewolf.
No.
Okay.
I think he's solidly a vampire.
Okay.
That was a question. I'm
There's-
keeping this in here.
How hairy is
That is
Ashton?
awesome.
Isabella.
Um,
I love it.
I just a player clarification here.
Yes.
We heard something about furry paws or whatever, but there weren't any werewolves in the banquet last night, right?
Not that you're aware of. There
Not that we're
definitely
aware
Not
was.
that we're aware of. Sure, sure, sure. But there are like maybe bestial vampires, but as far as we knew, they were all vampires or
Correct. As
serpents.
far as you are all aware. But you do know
Okay.
there are werewolves in the Ashen Forest.
Mm-hmm.
I know the same thing. Yes, that's what. Actually, when I was out on the terrace and spoke with von Aschenberg during the party, he did mention that.
Isabella is grappling with uh, information and the conflict and whether or not to share it with these other two women she doesn't know that she can trust. I think she's going to just say, you know,
Mm.
the forest can be quite beautiful at times. She's
Oh,
gonna
I
kind of like her
agree.
eyes are gonna kind of flick around.
Oh, I agree.
Would my dear sister wives enjoy a stroll?
I would love that, actually.
Question before I respond. When I used calm emotions on Isabella earlier, I should have got a hunger.
Yes.
Okay. So I'll respond. Ah, get a bite to eat.
I am a little peckish, actually. But yes, I would love. I love the forest. Or at least I think I did.
So all of you ladies are heading out?
I take it Dracula is sufficiently enough with my contrition that he is going to let me out.
Yes, he will. But yes,
Okay.
Isabella.
Visualization wise, you said that Dracula's castle overlooks Targovista. Is
Yes.
it like castle town is here around castle, forest is around town,
Okay.
or do we have to go through the forest to get to the town?
Castle. On mountain. Go down mountain. Village.
Mm-hmm.
Forest is behind village.
Okay, okay.
Perfect.
So, Aschenberg's palace is beyond the wood, but the town itself is not.
Correct.
Cool.
Y'all are going to von
Better
Aschenberg's
place.
and not the bride's manor, correct?
Well, I am curious about. I'm curious about her. This is not the first time I've been hearing about her. Even von Aschenberg mentioned her. And apparently she's still with us.
There's supposed to be a court meeting.
When
When
the
is
court?
that? Yeah.
It is dated for 6 months from now.
Okay, so sometime.
Mm-hmm.
What are we going to do with that letter?
Commit it to memory and destroy it.
Any candles around? Is
Yes,
there?
there's a nice fireplace. There's some candles. Wow, the fireplace is like actually lit up. That's weird.
I'm gonna take it and wander over there and go, oops, and just sort of fling it in accident. Just
As it falls into the fireplace, the fireplace burns purple for a moment. And then smoke, and you see a wisp of Helga in the smoke. There's a bit of a wink and a smile with a little finger wave as she vanishes.
Bye, Helga.
I wonder if that means she's actually free.
I think we did put a part of her to rest, at least.
So, off to a bite to eat and a stroll in the woods.
Sounds good to me.
As we go, Isabella is going to be vehement that the woods are the wrong place to feed, and we should absolutely not go into the woods hungry and looking for food.
So fun fact, you can only feed off of humans. Animals do not sate hunger.
Does the village have like
There's people.
a retirement home, something like
I don't know. Maybe we'll find that out next
Ethical
episode.
feeding.
We'll find out next
Ethical
episode.
feeding.
On that note, we're going to leave it here. And then next
Yay!
episode, I think we're going to the Ashen Forest and maybe the Gloom Manor.
Mm.
I think perhaps a bit of a feeding or I guess we maybe don't need to dip into that if we are picking up at a new session. Just that going to the village and feeding maybe causes some ripples and strife there in the village, but it
Which
doesn't
we'll
necessarily
find
need
out
to be
next
on
session.
camera.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh God.
All right. And on that note, toodles.
Bye.
Are we